Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream, a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy. Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's Ruel's Running Podcast. Here we are. It's another show. Trying to ramp up and get these things cranking and churning and flowing. Hope you guys appreciate it. If you are a new listener, welcome to the show. If you are a long-time listener, like long time listener, hi, how's it going? So got a few things to talk about today. First, tell me what you thought about the last episode. I had it in the show notes for the last episode that the back half of the episode, I had a new mic setup running, and definitely sounded different. After reviewing it, I want to find out what you guys thought about it. It's basically a mic setup with a mixer on the computer, and I was sitting at home and recording. So, just some new gadgets to fiddle with that I've been able to have the time to set up and tinker with. But that isn't the case right now. Right now, I'm on the go, so there's a lot of background noise, which I should apologize for, but I will for the new listener. But for the old listener, you know what's up. Always running something. Hey, speaking of running, I want to give a shout out and congrats to Scotty Cummer from 10 Junk Miles. He completed the Arrowhead 135. And if you don't know 10 Junk Miles, I'm a fan and a listener. Hold on, there's a Dodge truck. That was a Dodge truck. Anyways, yeah. If you don't know 10 Junk Miles, I'm a listener and a fan of the podcast. And Scott and I are connected numerous ways and on social, on Facebook and whatnot. We message time to time. He's got an awesome podcast. He's badass in my book as far as athletic feats. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Whoa, yeah. If you guys don't know what... again, wait, hold on. The podcast is 10 Junk Miles. Look that up. If you are into running and ultra running. And the way they put it, basically, if you just want to run 10 junk miles with them, you know, it's like having a running buddy along while you listen. Anyways, and if you aren't familiar with the Arrowhead 135, I wasn't until I found out that he was going to do it. It's crazy. There's I think it's a Vimeo video. Look it up, Arrowhead 135. It's crazy. It's he did the running portion of the event. There's a runner, there is a biker. Looked like fat tire bikes, and there's a skier. So crazy. Congrats, Scott. And then on another running tip, I still have my run coming up in less than 2 weeks, so see how that rolls. I'm dealing with a sore calf. Not a baby cow, but a muscle on my leg. Basically, I was I think I was getting my daughter dressed after bath time. I was putting a diaper on her, and then my calf went and cramped up pretty hard. I ignored it, I thought, oh, that's interesting, tightening calf. And I just went on with my business and the rest of the evening, and ended up in bed favoring that calf pretty good. Woke up this morning, it was less of an issue, but still can feel it there. So I'm pretty sure the pain will present itself during this month's race. Won't be surprised if it did. Whatever. Yeah, that's my upcoming race this month for 50K distance. Ooh. Hey guys, I have coffee. It's a coffee from Starbucks. It's a pike roast with a splash and a half of heavy cream. You gotta go splash and a half, because if you get a tall and a splash, that works. And if you go a little bit larger, you're gonna want a little bit more to get the ratios right.
Real dandy shoes.
But I had to say splash and a half, because when you say splash, it isn't more than a certain amount, and they won't charge you. And if you just say heavy cream and the barista isn't familiar with your order, they're thinking they're going to charge you 60 cents for, like, I don't know, an inch worth or more of heavy cream. So I don't want to get charged for the heavy cream, so I say splash. That'll ensure that I get it free. I say splash and a half. The barista said it made sense, and it still keeps me in that realm of don't charge me for the heavy cream. I mean, it's just 60 cents. But, if I feel like tipping, that 60 cents would have gone into it. There's a bit of wind.
It's Ruel from Ruel's Running Podcast, roving reporter, coming to you live over here in the middle of Northern California. We're expecting rain today, and oh brother.
So I haven't really talked about food as much, and I thought I could talk about food a tad. And I was reminded about it because, and I'm gonna kind of fold into some family chat. I get my kids up in the morning for school, and like a lot of us and kids, it's hard to get up and out of bed, right? And with my kids, I can count on like the TV to catch their attention and help sort of get their antennas moving. My kids have antennas. They're little radars and sensors to pay attention to stuff, especially when it comes off of the TV. And but I don't want to just turn on a TV just for whatever's sake. And personally, things like Netflix and Hulu, I can't decide what to put on because there's just so many choices. And that on top of, my kids have preferences. I'll put on one thing that I think is pretty kid-friendly, but one kid ends up saying, I don't like that. And then I spend more time fiddling through programs and shows and things. So what I did was turned on the YouTube app and searched Ruel's Running to get to my stuff on YouTube, and got to the vlog playlist of that channel so that I could have something running and keep the kids interested. Last summer did a whole lot of the vlogging while we were out in fun places, and so it was neat to see what we had done back then, kind of remember and reminisce and all that good stuff. And mixed up in that stack of videos is also cooking videos that I've produced in that same period. So I was like, I haven't talked about food in a while. They're not just, did videos on food and stuff. And so, yeah. So here goes. Food chat. What'd you guys have for dinner last night? Yeah. I didn't have anything exciting last night. We had been eating out a lot. And so I just pulled out a bunch of leftovers. Nothing exciting. And I do meal prep every week, so my wife has stuff to take to work. Some good stuff. But I often clear out the leftovers based on, what's oldest before it goes bad. And the oldest thing that I had in the refrigerator was some cooked ground beef. And I think it had been there for a couple weeks, but it still was pretty edible. It didn't smell funky. It didn't look funky. Just pop that thing in the microwave and just ate it. And the way I prep it is pretty basic. I'll have a hot pan, put a nice little smear of bacon grease on the pan, and then brown the ground beef, season salt and pepper. Easy, nothing fancy. My old self would have done stuff like splashed a bunch of soy sauce in there and onions and whatever, but nowadays I don't feel that. I feel like kind of putting one is your conventional soy sauce has wheat in it, so we try not to keep that type of stuff around anymore. We'll have the alternative gluten-free type soy sauces, the tamari, or the other alternative, which is the aminos, the coconut aminos, but those get pretty sweet. So, and I'm really, now my taste for the ground beef is, I really want to taste the beef. And this is the good ground beef that we've bought at a decent store, right? A Whole Foods or a Sprout or something. It's supposed to be the grass-fed variety, and don't want that stuff to go to waste, and don't want to mess up the meat by splashing a whole bunch of crap on it and having it burn into the meat. So I've learned to go very basic with eating that type of stuff. So the other leftovers, ain't gonna lie, there were hot dogs. There were all beef hot dogs. Now, I know they're not the best out there, but if I had to choose between an all beef hot dog and a French fry, I don't know why I picked that out of it. Yeah, I'll go for the hot dog. And but that's boring, and those are leftovers that I got into. But as far as cooking, cooking has been basically a batch of steamed broccoli that'll last a few days. through the week. I'll do a batch of cauliflower rice. Pretty easy to make. I did some baked cod with like a lime butter and shallot type of mixture to top it off after it baked. And yeah, that was pretty much it. My wife does the grocery shopping. She picks out the recipes, and I execute and make those things happen. Yeah. On the topic of family, health, and food, you know, and if I have any family members listening, so my mom had a recent doctor's appointment, and I drop her off. She does the appointment. I go elsewhere, get some work done, get a call to pick her up after her appointment. I pick her up. She gets in the vehicle. She's all done, and she says, "What's good to eat for, you know, anemics?" I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional. When I think anemic, I think has something to do with, I don't know, low blood, something or other. The only thing I can think of is when I have issues with blood, I need to eat something. I need to eat meat, right? So I go on this little quick. How about some meat? And how about some more fish? Just fall back and eat what's the basic. Eat your vegetables, eat your meat, eat your fish. You know, what happens with folks, my mom included, is they'll come back from a doctor's appointment and they'll even get lab results back saying things like, you know, high counts of whatever marker. And for some reason, folks like my mom will correlate that with a particular food group or type, and therefore think, well, if, let's say specifically, if I have a lot of protein in the urine sample or whatever, that means I'm eating too much meat, therefore I should cut eating meat. And I'm thinking, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I mean, why do you want to cut a whole food group? You know, because then you might end up missing out on stuff. And here she is, oh, what's good to eat for anemics? Maybe you shouldn't have been cutting out whole food groups. I don't know. It just, kind of, a lot of weird stuff happens when it comes to my mom and she coming back from her doctor's appointments. And I've had my share of discussions and ranting about, you know, what's going on, but nothing I can do, just sort of let her live her life and do what I do. Yeah.
Coming up, Rue gives us something else to think about. How vague is that, Ruel? Geez. Could you be any vaguer, Ruel? Well, it's all coming up on Ruel's Running. Okay, the book is called Eat Happy, Gluten-Free, Grain-Free, Low-Carb Recipes for a Joyful Life by me, Anna Vicino. Eat Happy has 154 delicious grain-free, gluten-free recipes that are also free of any processed sugars. There are meats, fish, sides, soup, starters, casseroles, slow cooker recipes, breakfast dishes, and even desserts to satisfy any sweets craving you might have, all with virtually no sugar. If you are low-carb, paleo, are wanting to keep autoimmune issues at bay, or just want to lose extra weight, Eat Happy gives you comfort food where you won't miss the sugars or grains, so your body and brain can feel happy from eating real foods. Okay, go get it then. Now's your chance. Yay! Yay!
Anyways, guys, I want to talk about coffee for a second because I love my coffee. I love my coffee. Coffee's so good for me. Hey, so you know what I hate is when people make caffeine synonymous with coffee, right? Like there was this one thing I read, I caught some news thing about some experiment with caffeine. Hold on. Scratchy scratch. There was some experiment with caffeine done, and the test subjects, 2 individuals, were given a dose of a caffeine solution to consume, to drink, take a shot of, whatever it was. And the calculations for the amount of caffeine for the test were incorrect by a decimal point placement. What ended up happening was the test subjects had ingested several hundreds times more than what the experiment was supposed to be set for. And the 2 test subjects needed to be hospitalized and treated, otherwise suffered death. Right? If I remember correctly, the test subjects had to be on dialysis and eventually recovered. But probably suffered some memory loss in the process. I can only imagine. Or I might be making that part up. I can't remember. I have a bit of memory loss myself. I think I may have been one of those test subjects. Damn it. At any rate, so the article headline said something along the lines of, you can die if you have 300 cups of coffee. Meanwhile, if you read through the article, it had nothing to do with coffee. It was the caffeine experiment. Yet people make caffeine and coffee synonymous. There is a bit of caffeine in coffee, depending on which coffee product and the way you make your coffee. At least that's my take. But, you know, I don't feel you can just say caffeine is coffee or coffee is caffeine. Right? It's like, I don't know. I mean, you take anything and then you just take a small percentage of what is contained in that something and then you make it synonymous. It doesn't make any sense.
It does not make any sense.
Yeah. So, F that. You know, coffee, yes, does have a level of caffeine. But coffee isn't just caffeine. Huh? Yeah. That's my rant on coffee. Man, this calf is still kind of tight and bothering me. But the good thing is that I've got movement. I've got range of motion. So I just gotta rest. Don't strain it. So that I can break it when I'm actually on my run. That's when it's worthwhile to injure myself, when it really matters the most. And I'll be in the smack dab in the middle of the trail, unable to get around, and I'll be left for the wildlife to consume, and and that'll be the end of me. But the good news is, if that happens, y'all will still have the rest of the podcast collection to listen to at your leisure, and to be reminded of how much of an idiot I am. Yeah. What I tried recently is a restaurant in the city in San Francisco. Had I don't know what cuisine it is. I think it's friggin' you guys tell me, what is it when you've got, I can probably figure it out. Hold on. As I fiddle through my phone to find out what the heck this is. Yeah, this is wonderful. Alright, here we go. It is Middle Eastern, gyros and all that good stuff. Had some beef and some chicken, and had a little bit of their hot sauce, and I just dumped the hot sauce on the meat, and my coworker's like, "Whoa, be careful! That's made out of habaneros," and I wasn't expecting that. He says, "You might want to test it out before you just dump it all in your food," which was too late. I dumped it all in my food, and it made things interesting. Ate it all down despite all the heat, and then did the several walks back to the office, sat at my desk, got to working, and needless to say, it felt like I was in the middle of a summer heat, but from the inside. Yeah, so it'll be interesting tomorrow morning when all of the stuff that's in my guts makes its way down to the bottom hole, and you know what I mean. And gotta flush all that stuff out. I love a good poop. Oh, okay. Speaking of poop, I want to talk about my mom and family. So my mom has this thing where, for whatever reason, when the kids are still in diapers and when they need a diaper change, or, well, not necessarily when they're in diapers, but I don't know. She sort of fixates on the kids' poop in a way that if it's a diaper that needs to be changed and it's a poopy diaper, and then she notices that it smells pretty bad, which poop should smell pretty bad for the most part. Otherwise, we'd just be leaving it in our asses and leaving it at home on the shelf and enjoying it because it doesn't smell bad. But poop smells bad, so we don't want it around. We bury it, we flush it, we trash it, right? You agree with me, right? Right, Trey? You agree with me. Poop stinks. Should get rid of it. But yeah. So, my mom will change a diaper, and she'll report back to me at some point like, "Oh, so-and-so had to change her diaper or his diaper, and his or her poop smelled pretty sour or terrible," and then that she tries to make a diagnosis, basically saying, "Oh, she's probably not doing well." I mean, I can get it. That can happen, but it's just kind of annoying, I guess. Or if it's a bit mushy, she's gonna claim that there's something wrong. If it's too firm and solid, she's gonna find something else to claim that there's something wrong. If it's nice, firm, and solid, she's gonna claim that the kid's constipated, and it's like always something. And it kind of annoys me that she's fixating on kids' poop. Yeah. You guys have people in your family that do that? Or is it just me? The same thing happens with food and my mom. She'll make up some shit about like lately I've been really, really enjoying the cast iron cookware that my wife and I picked up. I love it. and I love that I've been cooking with bacon grease. I love it. And for the kids, I'll do this thing, and it's not NSNG, folks, but my kids dig it, and I'll enjoy it time to time. And it's no big secret here on this podcast that I'm, for the most part, NSNG, with the exception of rice time to time. It's just the way I roll. So I'll make this fried rice. I know, for you fried rice fans. Yum, yeah. You know, and I'll make it pretty basic, and I think I make it pretty awesome, and I don't put as much junk in it that I used to. And basically, if anybody's interested, it's just I'll take a pan and heat it up, and I'll smear some bacon grease in the pan, get that going. Then meat of choice. It can be bacon, it can be some leftover pieces of chicken, it can be some leftover ground beef or chopped up steak, whatever. Or maybe not even have any meat. And if there is, put it in the pan. Have it brown a bit. Right? Actually, even before I do the meat browning, what I'll do is I'll take an egg, just a single egg, beat it, and then I'll fry it up in that pan first. Doesn't have to be, it can be left moist. Set it aside, take it out of the pan, put it I put it in the same bowl that I used to beat the egg in. So it's got a little bit of that raw egg mixture kind of smeared into the bowl while the cooked egg sits on it. Because I'm going to dump it back into the dish anyways, and the rest of it will cook right up. I like my eggs a little moist anyways. So, did the egg, set it aside, stick the meat, get it browned. Browned. That's when the past tense of browning. It's browned. Then, in my house, we have a rice cooker, and we have rice left over from the night before, so it's room temp sitting in the cooker. That's just how we Asians do it, in case you didn't know. And I'll take some of that room temp rice, break it up, and I'll lay it over the meat in the pan, get it all mixed up and moving around and nice and hot. Then I'll dump the moist fried egg and whatever remaining raw egg may have been smeared left at the bottom of that bowl onto the whole mixture, and break that up real good into small bits in the pan with all that other stuff, and just mix it up and kind of scrape the pan every now and then, because that rice will stick to the bottom of that pan sometimes, and I just want to get it all moving and incorporated. And then I get a ground white pepper. I get a little bit of that, and then I get some sea salt, a little bit of that, mix it all up, done. That's it. So got the bacon grease, got some delicious meat and egg, some seasoning, and that rice working. And my kids, one of my kids at the moment really digs it. He likes it. Takes it to school for lunch, has it for dinner, have it for breakfast. Pretty solid. Sometimes I like to get a little creative and add more than one type of meat. I'll do some crumbled bacon with some ground beef, and I'll even go Spam. Dun dun dun. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Speaking of Spam, my mom, she's I can always tell my mom's feeding my kids bits of information that I don't appreciate. She tells me, isn't Spam made of like the guts of the such and such? And if you read the packaging, it's mainly pork shoulder, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were other pork byproducts mixed in, boiled and mashed and formed into what makes it into this processed meat, right? And that was a Chevy Camaro. So, my thing is, I grew up on the stuff. I'm not saying it's the most optimal piece of meat out there. Probably like the most junkiest meat, but I think I may have said before, if I had a choice between a French fry and a slice of Spam, I'd go for the slice of Spam. That's just me. You don't have to follow. Yeah, anyways. And even if it was true that the thing of Spam had the guts of an animal incorporated into it, good. I'm all for no waste on an animal slaughtered for consumption, and I'm a fan of organ meats, and if I can get my organ meats in, I think it's better for me now. So then my mom asks me that about Spam and whether or not there's guts in it. I'm like, I don't know. It's the same crap as hot dogs, as my concern. But I have a friend who describes hot dogs containing lips and assholes, which I'm not against. Your lips and assholes might have an abundance of cartilage and collagen that's healthy for your joints and skin and whatnot. So, yay, lips and assholes. Anyways, enjoy that next hot dog, you guys. So my mom tells me that, and at some point, one of my kids says, "Does it have guts?" And I'm like, "Oh, great." I'm like, "Maybe it does, isn't it? Yummy." So, speaking of Spam, folks, if you gotta do Spam, if you have to, if you really want to, this is how I do it. So I told you about my fried rice. It's awesome. This is more family and food chat. But, I like to fry up some Spam for the kids. And sometimes I need to fry it up so that it's easy for them to snack on. Same thing. If I had a choice between little bits of Spam, kind of like a beef jerky, sized, packaging of. Basically, I have a plastic container full of the Spam that I prepare for the kids as an alternative to, say cookies and chips and junk like that. It's the same thing where if I had a choice between the way I prep the Spam, like a jerky, versus cookies and crackers and shit like that, I'd do the Spam. Always. Right? I mean, as a kid, sorry for all the background scratching and stuff. As a kid, my favorite type of potato chips were Granny Goose sour cream and onion. Yum. That was the way I rolled. And if I can get that and some sour cream and onion dip, extra awesome. But nowadays, I'm not going to take that potato chip for the dip, to a dip. Something to dip with. I'll take a strip of bacon, or I'll take, some, what my brother-in-law described as kind of like Spam chips. Pretty awesome. And this is how I make them. I'll heat up the pan. Right now, like I said, it's the cast iron pan. It's a nice flat pan, smearing of bacon grease. Yummy. I'll take the Spam and I will slice it up, not too thick. I don't know, maybe less than a 1/4 inch, not too thick, and I'll I'll fry it up in that pan at a medium to low to medium temp, just keep it sort of getting dehydrated, if you will, through that bacon fat frying process, and without having it turn black and burnt. And you'll notice when it's not as moist in the inside as when it gets to that point. It really is like jerky, like a crispy jerky, if that even makes sense, but really like a chip or some crispy bacon. So you get to that point, and here's the important part: I'll have a pair of tongs. I'll take the slice of Spam, and I'll take some kitchen shears, and I'll cut a slice into approximately 8 little chips, 8 little squares, right? And you got to cut them up immediately out of the pan, because when they start to cool in the air, they crisp up really, really quick. And I just do, a bunch of those. However much I can put fit in a pan to fry up is how much I make. And that's a snack for the kids, and sometimes it ends up being a side for whatever a regular meal is. And it's pretty cool. And it ends up being an alternative to crispy crumbled bacon. It ends up being an alternative to let's say on a salad. It becomes an alternative to your crunchy croutons. So yeah. That's it. Can't believe I'm talking about fried rice. By the way, you throw in some Spam in that fried rice, and your crispy spam chips. Awesome. I don't know how I rolled into that conversation. But let's move on. Believe it or not, through the magic of podcast producing, this is the end of the day for me. I thought I'd be sneaky and just sort of kind of make things flow from the past recording, which was in the morning, to now. But no, it's the end of the day. Poof, magic. I'm about to I'm about to do more kid chauffeuring and kid taxiing, and that's just the deal. So I will leave it as that. If I don't catch you later, and I probably won't, I just want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for catching up. I am in the process of getting the website up to date, and what I mean by that is, I like to have blog posts that are associated with the podcast episodes. It's just how I like to do it, but I've been behind on it, so now I'm just trying to catch up. So if you guys follow the blog and you notice that new posts have been churning for episodes that were from last year, that is why. It's me getting back into the swing of things. It's getting me back into the motion of it all, and I'm digging it. And so, along with that, I would like some direction from you guys, and you guys can easily let me know. Hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter. Contact me on the website. I'm looking to get into a direction with the podcast and the website, and I'm kind of those guys that act on the spur of the moment thought. And as much as I like having a format that I could follow, I also like the flexibility to just sort of wing it and change it at any moment. But I'm open up to ideas anyways, and see if I can incorporate any of those ideas and have fun along the way. Yeah. that is that. You guys take care. Hug your family. Eat something delicious and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.